Investigators refocus their attention on the cockpit voice recorder.
Turn on your landing lights.
Lights on.
They hear a warning that the plane is dangerously low. But strangely, the pilots don't seem to react to it.
You can't see a thing.
Why aren't they concerned about their altitude?
They should be.
Działanie pilotów.
The reactions of the pilots and the crew should be immediate, without any hesitation.
Dla nas, podczas gdy wysłuchaliśmy pierwszy raz,
when we listened to the recordings for the first time and heard the very clear system warnings, it was very surprising that the crew didn't react properly.
Że załoga nie zareagowała w sposób właściwy.
Turn on your landing lights.
Investigators are puzzled by the crew's behavior. They compare the plane's intended flight path to the altitudes called out by the navigator.
100 meters. 90 meters. 40. 30. 20. Stop. 40.
Just after the navigator calls out 20 meters,
20.
the unmistakable sound of the plane hitting the first tree.
20 meters?
They hit the tree at 11 meters, not 20.
Something's not right. The navigator is calling out 20 meters, but the plane is only 11 meters from the ground.
They didn't know the altitudes.
The recording leaves investigators with two important questions. Why did the crew ignore the alarms? And why were they closer to the ground than they thought? They pore over the flight data, checking for signs of an altimeter malfunction.
Lieutenant.
It could explain the crash.
What happens here?
But instead of a malfunction, they find that the altimeter reading makes a sudden jump. A barometric altimeter shows the plane's height above sea level by measuring atmospheric pressure. Air pressure goes up as the plane goes down. When approaching an airport, pilots usually calibrate the altimeter to account for the airport's height above sea level. But that's not what this crew did.
Someone reset the altimeter.
Jeden z członków załogi przestawił wysokościomierz.
One of the crew members switched the captain's altimeter to a pressure which changed the altitude reference.
Odebrał informację, że samolot
The plane seemed a little bit higher than it was in reality.
wyżej niż był faktycznie.
The numbers show that the instrument was reset to its default setting, a move that resulted in an altimeter reading much higher than the plane's actual height above the ground.
Why would a pilot do that?
Polish investigators take their questions to pilots from the same special regiment that flew the president.
What do you think they were doing?
They learn that military pilots sometimes use the barometric altimeter to solve an annoying problem. The altimeter is connected to the Terrain Altitude Warning System, or TAWS. It alerts pilots if they're getting too close to the ground. The system is pre-programmed with the location of most major airports and will not sound an alarm when the pilots are coming in to land. But that only works if the airport is in the database. Many, including Smolensk, are not.
W przypadku Smoleńska.
The Smolensk airport, which is a military airport, was not included in the TAWS system.
The alarm goes off so frequently at military airports that some pilots have developed a dangerous habit of disregarding the sound.
You can't see a thing.
Przeanalizowaliśmy wiele lotów.
We analyzed many flights, and it turns out that they were in the habit of ignoring these alarms.
Załogi do ignorowania tego typu komunikatów.
And that's not all.
You telling me you actually change the altimeter to the wrong setting?
They've also come up with ways to silence the nuisance alarms. One way is to simply reset the altimeter. That fools the system into thinking the plane is flying at a higher altitude.
Turn on your landing lights.
Lights on.
It's a temporary fix. As the crew of the presidential jet continues to descend, The alarm sounds again just 20 seconds later.
Start playback.
It seems incredible that such an elite crew flying such high-ranking passengers would commit a breach of procedures.
100 meters.
Even if they did, it doesn't explain why the navigator was calling out the wrong altitude during the descent.
90 meters.
Stop playback. He was using his radio altimeter.
Most large jets are equipped with two types of altimeter.
40,
Since the barometric altimeter has been reset,
30,
the navigator could only have been using the second one,
20.
his radio altimeter. It uses radio waves to measure the distance between the plane and the ground below. But the terrain near Smolensk Air Base is uneven. Planes have to fly over a valley to reach it.
Look what happens here.
When the radio altimeter reads 100 meters, the Air Force jet was not 100 meters above the airport. It was 100 meters from the bottom of the valley. In the dense fog, the pilots couldn't see the ground. Once they cleared the valley, they were just a few meters from the treetops. The radio altimeter was giving them misleading information.
Natomiast używanie radiowysokości
Using the radio altimeter at this early stage of approach is a serious mistake.
ewidentnym błędem
It doomed everyone on board.